Welcome to the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. My name is Danny Heifetz, and I am joined in studio by Danny Kelly and Craig Horlbeck. Craig, we are in Los Angeles. We came to your home turf, baby.
Thank you. You guys flew from across the country to come visit me just to hang out. How nice is that? Just kidding. You're here for the live show, which is on Tuesday, July 30th.
Yeah.
There are like a handful of tickets left.
Four.
So if you, four. So if you and your partner and another couple,
Double date.
a double date. I can't think of a better double date.
Like a poly? You're trying to invite the poly fantasy football LA community?
Yeah, the
to our show?
broader
Polycules.
poly community, which I think is flourishing in Los Angeles. Come to our show July 30th. You're probably listening to this on July 29th, or maybe even on the morning of July 30th. Spontaneous live show trip.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, ringer.com/events.
And we have a ton to get to today. So since we last recorded, $500 million of contracts.
Yeah.
Ton of news. Nobody's happy. So we can just get into it. There's a ton of training camp news, ton of updates and everything. And there's 32 teams going 6 days a week. It's kind of like 32 different fire hoses of news to drink from. So we're going to just boil it down and just try to explain stuff. But, I mean, let's just do it. Start with the Dolphins have re-signed Tua Tagovailoa. Tua signed, it's a 4-year deal for $212 million. My favorite hobby is
finding out what it really
correcting the
is.
contract. Yeah. It's 3 years for $150 million. So just an even $50 million a year for Tua.
Yeah.
And 8th most guaranteed money among quarterbacks. And I'm not going to lie, I think this will be a really controversial contract, right, DK?
I mean, yeah, obviously. And I think there are a huge amount of question marks about Tua. I think, number one, is he good? Is he worth that amount of money?
Is he good?
And then number two,
$50
of course,
million a year. Is
One
he good?
problem happy.
yeah. I think there are still people that don't think he's very good. And so that's
So you got
obviously an
93
issue.
guaranteed.
And then also there's the health issue. You know, the concussion thing, it did not matter last year. He did not get hurt last year, but obviously there are question marks about that going forward. Like, you know, there's still this worry that the concussion thing could come back.
Can somebody explain this to me? So his guarantee at signing is 93 million, but his practical guarantee is 167.
Okay. So
This is so
do you
stupid.
actually
You're
want to
winding,
know?
you're winding
Do you
hype
actually
yourself
want to
right
know?
now.
Basically, so there's Garrett. There's okay.
Let him cook.
Hold
let him
up.
cook. Guaranteed at signing is your signing bonus, which is guaranteed at signing is the money you're actually going to get paid. Even if we hate you, like Russell Wilson
Yeah, right.
is the money that even if you're Russell Wilson and actually by week 1 of the first day for your team, everyone's like, oh, this was a mistake.
They're out. They're
Yeah.
counting down the play clock in the first game of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's guaranteed at signing. You're going to get paid.
Practical is like as long as you're like on the team and playing, you will get this money.
A practical guarantee, which as some might point out, is an oxymoron that doesn't make any sense because there's no such
There's
thing.
levels of guaranteed.
A
here.
practical guarantee is, well, if we cut you, practical guarantee is, oh, your
I don't
money in
think you understand what
2025.
guarantee means.
Sorry, it's don't understand.
I don't think you're using that word right.
Is this a great opening to the show? It's basically practical guarantee is your salary in 2027 will become guaranteed in 2026. And so that means we'd have to know we want to fire you a year before we fire you. So they're like, well, it's practically guaranteed because why would we do that? And it's like Daniel Jones had a practical guarantees. They're going to fire him. Russell, and that's it. We call them cutting. They're getting fired. Russell Wilson had all these practical guarantees. They were not so practical.
What if
Like,
they
he got
didn't? What if
fired.
they just didn't call them guarantees anymore?
Well, you can't pitch that. It's a rebrand of like what it is.
Guarantee sounds really good to an
it's a-
agent.
It's a team option, and I think that you know NBA or MLB, you hear the term team option.
Yeah.
You don't hear that in the NFL. It's because every contract more than 1 year is a team option because none of them are fully guaranteed. So to answer your question, a practical guarantee is a team option on the following season, and so Tua, it's really 3 years for $150 million.
It's still a lot.
And then they have a team op. Yeah, it's a lot of money for someone that you're like, is he good?
So as long as every year the Dolphins go, we'll keep him for one more year, then he will earn that 167 guaranteed.
Yeah. And so it's like Mahomes actually has a ton of practical guarantees, but he doesn't care because he's like, they're not going to cut me. And he wants to win Super Bowls, so he doesn't care. But so to your point about whether Tua is good, there was this great shout out to ESPN, Marcel Louis-Jacques, who covers the Dolphins for ESPN, had a great, just really encapsulating couple stats about Tua. And I think just the idea, Stephen Ruiz talks about this all the time, that Tua is great in structure for Mike McDaniel's offense, but he's bad out of structure. Like he's like the guy who can run an offense, but if the NBA, like if the play breaks down, it's like Tua's not the guy who just goes and gets a bucket.
Right.
And the stat that they had at ESPN, Tua ranked 3rd in his total quarterback rating, 3rd among all quarterbacks when the play was under 2.5 seconds long. Like if you got rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds, he was 3rd. Over 2.5 seconds, he was 16th.
Yeah.
You know what Tua is? Tua is a screen actor, not a stage actor. When he's got the director, the lighting, you can cut all that stuff.
Like good co-stars.
Absolutely.
Good supporting cast.
You can retake it over and over. He's great.
Kind of like us, we can edit the show, but when now we go live on YouTube, we're like, oh my God. How's this
in
gonna
Hawaii.
You throw him live on Broadway? I don't know. That's a whole different ballgame.
But yeah, and I think the contract this week that happened, I think a lot of people have just started to, argue about it and basically like, is Tua even good? I felt like it's really weird that people hate Tua. Like
he's a nice guy.
People do hate him though.
It's like people have like a
hate
visceral reaction to Tua.
Do we hate him?
I don't hate him. I feel like I push against you guys.
I think he's really good, slow Daniel Jones.
He's Jared Goff. He's lefty Jared Goff to me.
Lefty Jared Goff, yeah.
Like in the right situation, like we just said, with the supporting cast and in the right offense and everything, he's ridiculously good. And actually, I pulled up some numbers that I feel like I've been defending him the last year, but even I didn't realize this. If you look at it, number 1 last year in PFF's pass grade, number 1 in passing yards, number 2 in yards per attempt, number 3 in EPA per play, number 4 in success rate, number 4 in, this is a great stat, fantasy points data suite, highly accurate throw rate, which is basically like you're hitting your receiver directly in the hand so he can keep running, and they track and they chart all this. Is charted data.
He can throw a mean slant.
Well, I was gonna say, okay, but it's kind of like reading like Harrison Barnes's stats for like the 2017 Warriors. I'm like, are we looking that he's playing with like, oh, he's hitting Tyreek in the hands because he's fast. So basically,
but hold on, stop. Oh, number 5 in big time throws per PFF, which completely invalidates everything you just said. He's making really tough throws. His completion rate over expected better than Stroud, Goff, Herbert, Lawrence, Stafford, Love, Mahomes.
Okay.
You guys are haters.
Okay. Well, let me hit you with this.
Yeah.
Like, if you're starting a team right now, where would you pick him?
Yeah, no, I don't know. Who's my coach? Is it Mike McDaniel?
Well, no, you don't know who the coach is. You're the coach.
Okay, I think that is
who's the league average coach.
Dennis Allen?
No.
Todd Bowles?
Let's go with Mike Vrabel. He's the best coach.
He's not even a coach.
That's fair.
Wait,
he's an assistant coach right now.
Yeah, fine. Okay, fine. Kevin Stefanski for the Browns. He's your coach.
He just won Coach of the Year.
Christ.
Oh my God. Jeez, man.
Just saying.
Fine.
Doug Peterson?
Zach Taylor for the Bengals.
Doug Peterson's a good one.
Okay, whatever. Doug Peterson, Zach Taylor.
Okay, but no, your point is well taken.
Yeah, right. You can read all these stats. And
yeah, okay, well, then, do you want him as your guy?
No. But my point is,
ever seen him on his own?
I think it's weird. There's a weird conflict where he has incredible stats in the offense that he's running. He's running it really, really well. And yet everyone thinks he sucks, but like their offense.
Is he Russell
No
Westbrook?
one thinks he sucks. No one thinks he sucks.
Is he Russell Westbrook?
Oh, that's not true.
All right, people on the internet aren't real.
Yeah.
People thinking he sucks is not the same. People are like, oh, he sucks. It's should he make $50 million a year if the most valuable things about Dolphins are the head coach having an unprecedented level of speed, and Mike McDaniel built not even an offense as much as a concept of literally they can run deeper route trees because Tyreek and Waddle are so fast. They can break you. It's like the Bill Walsh West Coast offense, horizontally, vertical, every grass. But they're using motion to make the fastest people in the NFL. It's
giving
like
them
race cars. Yeah, race cars starting from moving instead of they're already faster than you. And so I'm like, all right, this guy's just here. Could he be replaced? And so that's the question. $50 million a year for a guy. Could someone do this? Can I give you my real take on Tua?
Yeah.
He reminds me, not as a person, but how we talk about him, like Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was almost an MVP candidate in his second year. And they went to the Super Bowl and they won without him and they came back. And everyone's like, yeah, Carson Wentz, what happened to him? He tore his ACL. That's what happened. We don't talk about Carson Wentz like, oh, yeah, hasn't been the same since the ACL. But he hasn't been the same since the ACL. Tua just hasn't been the same since the career-threatening hip injury he had in college. And so I'm kind of like, I don't know. I feel like the people who love him still hold on to like how incredible he was at Alabama. And the reality is he hasn't been the same since the hip injury, but no one talks about it that way. It's not even the injury we talk about with him.
I know, but like it's weird to me you're framing it that way because he literally led the NFL in passing yards last year. You're like, he hasn't been the same since Alabama.
He hasn't though. But when you watch the Dolphins, he leads the league in passing yards. Is your take, wow, I think of the Dolphins in that Chiefs Ice Bowl game. I think of the only points the Dolphins scored in that game was Tyreek Hill catching a pass. He turned around and fielded like a punt because he was waiting so long for it to come down.
And that's what I can't get out of my head is Tua just underthrowing Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle constantly.
You got the ick.
I mean, if you had to rank the most important the most important players on the Dolphins offense, Tua's not top 3.
Yeah, I don't know. But like
he's the quarterback. He's
you
not
guys
even
say
top
that,
3.
but also at the same time, I feel like he is really well. like his skill set perfectly fits what they're trying to do. He passes over the middle of the field. He has incredible decisiveness. He gets rid of the ball really quickly. You know, you talked about his time to throw. Like that is a skill in itself that he's getting rid of the football and he's getting the ball to his playmakers. He's doing what they're asking him to do. And again, I'm not going to argue that like he would be the first guy that I choose for my franchise or whatever. I'm not saying that. I see him in the Goff range where he's really good at running this offense that they're doing. He's a facilitator.
It's hard to separate the player from the scheme.
And can I?
But he has accurate throw rate, big time throws. Like he's making the throws, and we're not giving him credit for those. I don't think.
Can I push back on myself?
Who's we? The internet at large? Because he just got paid $50 million.
NFL intelligence. Well, if you look at the reaction for when he got signed, I think.
Well, I think here's the argument for it is two things. It costs what it costs. It's like a house. You're like, damn, rent is expensive right now. All right, what are you going to do? Not pay rent? You need a quarterback. And if Carlos Chiriboga was here, Carlos is the man. He's a Dolphins fan, and he's the quick to point out. Tua is unambiguously the best Dolphins quarterback in the 21st century since Dan Marino. Like the Dolphins, Tua made the Pro Bowl last year. Before that, the Dolphins were the only team in the 21st century to not have a Pro Bowl quarterback. And Tua is the second quarterback the Dolphins have re-signed in the 21st century. Like they have not re-signed a quarterback to a contract other than Ryan Tannehill and Tua, and they traded Tannehill and then he was good.
And
so it's like emotionally, you have to keep him. And
you got to be happy to be here.
Yeah, I think. Like the price is the price. What are they going to do?
I mean, this is one of the we're most excited about this year. Like this is a really, really exciting, high octane offense.
It is weird that they are so fucking exciting. They have like the coolest players in the league. They're the fastest, most electric, like explosive in fantasy, and yet everyone's just kind of like Dolphins. It's so weird. Why are they the coolest team in the league? Because they're not.
It's because of Tua. I mean, so also he did the Rod Tidwell, show me the money, and if the second he starts playing poorly, people are gonna mean that. Yeah. But the other quarterback who signed this week, Packers re-signed Jordan. Well, last week at this point, we're recording this Monday. Packers re-signed Jordan Love. He got a 4-year contract for $220 million. Record-setting $75 million signing bonus. I don't know how you guys feel about this. $25 million direct deposit this week for Jordan Love.
That'd be cool.
$25 million direct deposit October 4th. $25 million direct deposit December 27th. Wow. Not his salary, just a bonus. So that's kind of nice. So without going into
$75 million over the next 3 months.
Jeez. Oh no, that's also plus a salary. But yeah,
But how often do you get paid in the NFL? Like every 2 weeks?
Yeah, they get a game check every week. Yeah, they get a game check every week, but he's getting this without going into the whole practical guarantee thing. Slightly less money than Tua over 3 years, but he got like double the signing bonus. So it's. But Jordan Love, Craig, what was your first reaction when you saw this Jordan Love contract extension?
I was like, this is the craziest quarterback contract ever. Maybe Deshaun Watson, I guess, but
easily.
Yeah, that was guaranteed is like insane. Outside of that, I don't know. I'm just like, teams are in such a weird spot now because like. You absolutely have to pay him. And when you pay somebody who is relatively at the level of like the best 5 to 10 quarterbacks in the league, like you have to make them the highest paid quarterback in the league. Like it's just like, Kirk Cousins has been the highest quarterback in the league like 3 different times just because of the way his contract worked out. And it's just like, I'm like, I don't know. Jordan Love has played 10 good football games and he is now making.
I think Packers fans are screaming.
But it's true.
But final 8 games of last season, Jordan Love had 18 touchdowns and 1 interception.
The first half of the season, they were 3-6, and he had 14 touchdowns and 10 picks.
He also was working with the youngest skill group in the history of the NFL.
I actually think Jordan Love is like fantastic and amazing. That's not my point. Is not like he's not worth the money. My point is like it's crazy how quickly you have to pay somebody the second they get good now.
He was drafted in 2020. He's been on the bench for 3 years. This is unlike any other situation.
That's why I think it's the craziest contract in history. This guy had one half of a good season, and he's the highest paid quarterback in the league now per year.
Did Daniel Jones have one half of a good season? They paid him. He had like a third of it. He had like 3 good games.
I found myself, Craig, I found myself sort of bristling at your comment that it's the craziest contract, and I was going to be like, well, they've seen this guy practicing for 4 years, and then I'm like, wait, that's absolutely insane. That's an insane thing to say.
He's making $55 million a year. He's played 10 good football games. And I think he's deserving, and he will go on to be like one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't know.
You're right.
He's holding out after 10 games.
Like
Caleb Williams should just hold out right now.
He tried. His dad, like in
Tried
September, was like, it's weird. That's kind of better to not get drafted than go first. And I was like, don't you get any ideas?
How few games does a quarterback need to play at a high level to like warrant getting paid the most money in the league?
Well, speaking of the Packers, Matt Flynn played the one game.
I was just thinking about it.
Like,
he had like 6 touchdowns in a game.
He signed like a $40 million contract.
Yeah, week 17, because the Packers benched their starters and the Seahawks started.
Like, couldn't Caleb Williams just be like, I'm holding out for an extension right now? They pay him.
I don't think the CBA allows it.
You can't do that.
If you don't show up, then you just don't accrue it. You have 4 years, 5 years, whatever, depends, first round pick, till free agency. And
when can he start holding out for a new contract, Caleb Williams?
You can't get a contract extension till 3 seasons in the NFL. The NFL figured all this out. The short answer to everything you're saying is that the rookies aren't like, we're not getting into this, but they leveraged.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he has the power to. Although he tried. Apparently, there was a report that came out recently. He was like, trying to get paid to an LLC to avoid. I don't even know what tax.
Caleb Williams wants to be paid to an LLC.
Yeah, and he was like deferred payments that would come later. I don't even know exactly what it was.
The Bears are like, wow, we should have these ideas. Bears are like, damn, should we be an LLC?
Like, these are really cool ideas, but no.
Anyway, I think Jordan Love's great. I'm just like, this is crazy.
I will say, Jordan Love 14-1 to win MVP. I kind of think it's a value. I feel like CJ Stroud market corrected Jordan Love this offseason because we're not even talking about how the Packers replaced Aaron Rodgers and have like this generational quarterback. He had the same stat line in the wild card round, like almost to the yard as CJ Stroud. And Stroud's just doing cool stuff with Micah Parsons. And I feel like no one's talking about Jordan Love. You'd think he'd be a phenomenon, but I actually think he's weirdly underrated.
Do you guys think do you think CJ Stroud's like media emergence in the first year of his career is like a little bit of an ick? Or do you think
for Stroud?
Yeah.
He won a playoff game.
Is it like hey, like you don't immediately need to be a media personality? Or are you like, oh, this is the modern NFL, this is modern sports now, like this is what athletes do?
Forgetting what I actually think people in the NFL, coaches, GMs, players believe, he won a playoff game. And I think the difference between people thinking you can do that or not, like when Baker Mayfield did all the progressive commercials.
Oh, right. Yeah,
I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they had won a playoff game by that point, but like people hated that because it's like
he's the worst QB to ever get endorsed in a commercial.
And he was everywhere. Stroud honestly played so well and impressed so many people and won a playoff game that I think you actually get to be.
It's fine.
Yeah, you think? Because he was just like chilling on the couch with Micah Parsons, like firing off takes about players in the league. And I'm like,
you listen to him.
Crazy.
He's studied. The guy
super
is
smart.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Speaking of Micah Parsons, though, okay. The Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what Dallas is doing. They're a hot mess. Dallas, I'm going to be in Oxnard at Dallas camp next week. And I honestly, I am so curious what the vibes are. So Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons all need contracts. They're all going to want to be the highest paid ever at their position. Dak Prescott is at training camp. He is literally, Dak Prescott, already talking about how he's made peace with having to leave the Cowboys, if that's what comes to it. Or if that, what's the phrase? I can't speak English. That's what it comes to.
Yeah.
Yeah. CeeDee Lamb, whatever, man. CeeDee Lamb's not even there.
Push comes to shove.
Comes. What does that even mean? Like if you push it,
if
push
a fight
is a
develops.
Shove. Push comes to punch. Push is a shove.
Same category, but different meanings. If somebody's like, I got shoved versus I got pushed.
Maybe it's like,
sounds more aggressive.
If I push you with one hand, but a shove's like two hands.
Yeah, shove is more aggressive.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, CeeDee Lamb isn't even at training camp. He wants a new contract. He's in Houston. Micah Parsons also needs a new deal. He's third in line. And Dallas has zero depth behind these people. They've had 3 horribly embarrassing playoff losses in 3 years. They haven't been to a conference title game in 28 years. Every other team in Dallas has done it in the last like 300 days or whatever. And I keep wondering.
Heivitz always has those stats.
I know.
Well, it's crazy.
It's like 3 colleges in Dallas have actually gone to state championships in the last 3 years.
I'm like, what happened in the playoffs last year? I can't even remember. Who won the Super Bowl?
Your dad. You don't need a memory.
I do remember the Dallas getting boat raced by Green Bay.
Oh my God. DK, does it concern you that Jerry Jones is a month older than Joe Biden?
I know. When you're talking about this, my first reaction is sort of just Jerry Jones is a nihilist. He doesn't isn't thinking about what's going to happen a year from now because he might not be around for much longer. He's just like, let's just let it roll.
But let's
see what's happening.
It's the other way around. The Cowboys have this perception of like, oh yeah, we spend big money, we do crazy stuff. I think what's actually happening is they're transitioning from the old owner who bought the team and is smart, made their own money, and is aggressive, like Jerry Buss for the Lakers, George Steinbrenner for the Yankees, Jerry Jones. But it's actually, they already did transition. Stephen Jones, his son, is running the team now. And Stephen is like the Buss kids or the Steinbrenner kids who actually, they didn't make the money. They kind of, like the old owners, Jerry Buss, Steinbrenner, Jerry Jones, would like, they'd rather like go broke than lose. And the kids like, No, we'd rather just keep the money than win. We like money's great. And so the Cowboys, the Eagles in the NFC East are tied for the most cash being spent this entire year. They're tied with the Browns. The Dallas Cowboys are 32nd.
It's crazy.
The Cowboys are spending
the most valuable franchise in sports.
Are spending like it's a small market team. They're like the Lannisters, where they have like this reputation, and actually their gold mines ran dry. Yeah, they ran dry like years ago.
They're playing like Moneyball,
dude. They're not spending any money. And then I look and it's like I really do think it's the Stephen Jones. There's Tyler Dunn at Go Long, who's a Substack, did this great story about how Stephen Jones has been frugal for a long time. Like even back when they signed Deion Sanders like 30 years ago. He was like apoplectic that his dad was spending so much money in free agency. And I really think that what we're seeing is it's what Craig said. They put Jerry Jones in the Ocean's 11 bank vault and they're just letting him, they're telling him he's running the team, but Jerry Jones isn't doing anything. He's watching this like tape from the Bellagio vault.
I mean, he's contradicted himself a few times over the last few months. Jerry Jones has about their cap situation. It's like unclear if he knows exactly what's going on.
He was talking to Jonathan Brooks like they drafted him. Like they just told him, yeah, we'll take that guy. And then he's like, oh yeah, we did a great job. They're like, dude, it's day one of the draft right now.
I feel like they're just like, time to go to
okay, Grandpa.
Yeah, okay, Grandpa.
Yeah. We drafted Jonathan Brooks. Okay, Grandpa.
Let's get you ready.
We won 3 Super Bowls.
We don't need CeeDee Lamb. Okay.
It is bizarre though, to bring it back to the point, they have done an amazing job of accumulating talent. This is like a big strength of the Cowboys over the years is like they're very good at drafting. If you look at their roster, they have some incredible players.
Which is so funny.
Future Hall of Famers.
Isn't the whole like scouting process in Dallas, like the scouts will bring like a report and be like, we have to take this guy, and then Jerry Jones at the 11th hour is like, that guy.
No, they have this guy named Will McClay, who is like, they don't call him the GM, but they take good care of it. Will McClay has literally been the number one candidate for every team for GM for like 10 years, and he doesn't leave because Jerry's really good at persuading people and paying him a lot. But Will McClay is like the best talent evaluator, and he just doesn't leave. He's like part of the family. But
it's like CD.
Yeah, it's his pick.
One of the best receivers in the NFL, Micah Parsons. But, going back further, it's like Zach Martin.
But when you're spending like a small market team, you only need to miss a couple drafts for it to all fall apart. And like, think about it. They haven't made the NFC Championship game with Dak, CD, Micah Parsons on rookie contracts. Dak and CD and Micah are on rookie deals. Now they're going to have to pay him. And I know this, maybe I haven't made this clear. The reason this is a catastrophe, should have led with this, Dak could be a free agent at the end of the year. Like there is a world that Dak Prescott, these are the stakes. They're probably not going to do an extension during the season. That just doesn't happen for anybody. Either they get a deal done before before week 1. If they don't, Dak Prescott is either going to have to go back to Dallas for like $70 million a year in a world where Tua is getting 50, or Dak could leave Dallas and Dallas in exchange gets a 3rd round pick in 2026 for Dak Prescott.
Trey Lance season.
I know, like what is the plan here? It is just bizarre to think about why they're doing this, and it comes down to, well, you also have the coach, Mike McCarthy.
He's in a contract year.
He's a free agent after this year
the
too.
Entire
it's like the entire team. Everything depends on what they do this year. It's so bizarre. And are they going to be able to get all these guys done at the exact same time?
So are the Cowboys the sneaky playoff failure team? Like everybody in a contract. Think about it this way. I mean this literally. Every single coach on the Cowboys is on a contract year, and you don't hear about that because teams, generally speaking, don't do it. But the Cowboys are kind of cheap. Like apparently, Stephen Jones has been reported doesn't love doing debt. They don't like paying people quote to not work, dead money. What you were asking about practical guarantees, they don't do it. So like David Tepper for the Panthers is paying 3 different coaches right now because he fires them like, all right, we own the money on the contract, but we need a new coach. Cowboys won't do it. That's why they never fired Jason Garrett, because they don't want to pay Jason Garrett if he's not working for them. So but now every coach on the team is in a contract year, which they're not used to. Dak, CD, and Mike is in a contract year. And if they don't start hot, the vibes sour real quick. CD's not there. And the Chargers, the Cowboys without CD are the Chargers. Like it's Brandon Cooks, Kevontae Turpin, and Jalen Tolbert. Like I kind of wonder if the Cowboys are like quietly the most top-heavy team in the entire league.
To that point, I saw a quote from Stephen Jones today that basically, and I won't read the whole quote, but he was basically like putting it out there that, you know what, he says, one of the great things about Texas is you don't have to pay state income taxes. And he's talking about how the cost of living in Texas is way lower compared to living in, wherever, New York or Seattle or LA or what have you. It's just like so much cheaper to live there. So your money goes farther. He's like out here lobbying that we're going to pay you less just because it's great to live in Texas. You don't have to pay taxes. You get to live in like a giant 50 square foot mansion or whatever. And it's $500,000.
They've bungled every aspect of this. So
but it's like he's going out and talking about how, the quarterbacks that go out and take the huge deals, you can't put enough around him. You can't put other pieces around him. He's like lobbying that Dak is going to have to take less money to come here. It's like, they don't know what they're doing.
We could run an NFL team for the 1,000th time. Next up here, the other This Is Fine team, the Cincinnati Bengals. I know we've talked to them the last couple weeks. We talked about Joe Burrow. Last time we were talking, I moved Joe Burrow way down my rankings. I moved Jamar Chase from 6th to like 20th in my rankings. And I told you guys I would move them back when Joe Burrow threw a football 5 days in a row. They actually officially made an announcement from Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's not going to throw football 3 days in a row for the foreseeable future, maybe all of camp. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm out. Like Jamar Chase is holding in. Joe Burrow's not throwing a football 3 days in a row. Like this is the healthiest he'll be all year. Like it's a wrist injury. Like when you fall,
that's not true because he's still coming back from the injury. It's not the healthiest he's going to be all year. He'll get more healthy as he gets further away from the surgery.
August 30th is the healthiest he'll be.
Right,
but you don't get healthier during an NFL season. You plateau at best. And so if he's still not...
Well, his wrist might get healthier, but the rest of him is a question mark. But yeah.
Why? When Aaron Donald... Or so I guess he retired. When TJ Watt tackles him and he braces himself on his throwing wrist, that's going to help?
Once again, Joe Burrow, not a normal offseason. 5th straight year of him not having a normal training camp.
I'm out on the Bengals. Like even in the last week of training camp, if Joe Burrow throws 5 days in a row, that's fine. I'm in. But until it happens, I'm out.
Do quarterbacks throw 5 days in a row during the regular season? Or no?
I mean, I don't know
how often are quarterbacks actually throwing 5 days in a row?
Yes, they're throwing a football 5 days in a row.
You think?
I don't know.
I don't think
probably
they
are
after
on
the
like
game.
They're not throwing on Monday.
Somewhat of a pitch count. But yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday off.
I don't think they're throwing Mondays, and I'm sure it's like Roethlisberger toward the end. He was like...
He's just like, I'll see you on Sunday.
I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah, but they're not taking guys out of practice, though.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, vibes in Cincinnati are tough. The other contract is San Francisco. You have Brandon Ayuk is kind of holding in. Trent Williams is also holding in. I don't even know anymore. But
why is Brandon Ayuk holding in? I feel like he kind of caved, and he's like, all right, anyway, I'll see you there.
Well, it's because
the fine structure.
But can't you recoup those on a rookie deal?
No. The short answer is, honestly, I don't know. They changed the rules. But I think no.
I was on when you're on a second contract, you can't recoup the fines, but when you're on a rookie contract, you can?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
All this shit is so stupid. Let's be honest.
But I think the difference, can I tell you, Matt? I think there's a strategic difference. Brandon Ayuk, I think, is there because they do want to win a Super Bowl. And also, I think the Niners will pay him. And I think if he's there, you can be there.
You'd be like, oh, my leg hurts.
I think CeeDee Lamb is not, yeah, exactly.
When I hang out on the
side. Like, oh, my back.
He was like he was sitting at practice talking to the GM.
He seemed like he was in a good spirits.
Yeah.
The difference is I think CeeDee Lamb is not with the Cowboys and doesn't care about the fine money because CeeDee Lamb wants them to see what their offense is without CeeDee Lamb.
Which is a great point.
Whereas
it's different than Ayuk, yeah.
On that note, I will say, I think Ayuk delays all this because I don't think CeeDee signs till Ayuk signs. And I don't think Ayuk signs till that week of. And I also think
they're playing chicken.
Do you think Ayuk is going to have like the all-time year this season? Because I feel like we underrated that they made a Netflix doc about not just Deebo Samuel, but also George Kittle and did invite Brandon Ayuk. And he probably thinks he's the best and youngest of both of them.
Do we know they didn't invite him?
I mean, I'm going to guess, yeah. No,
that's like, it'd be if you guys got invited to do a show and they're like, they didn't talk to me. Like, fuck you guys.
And then like there are literally cameras following us
talking about podcasters.
Yeah. They're like, we don't give a fuck about
you watch the thing and he's just like cut, like his face cut out of everything. It's just like a pair of hands dapping up Deebo, and you're like, that's Brandon Ayuk.
They crop it so I'm out of the picture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It shows the three of us on like Zoom calls and you just cut off a third of it.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like Ayuk's probably been treaded pretty hard.
I'm gonna come in and have the best podcasts this year, guys.
But yeah. You know how we always like believe in fantasy and like the contract year guy, like who wants to, play well to earn a new contract. Do you believe in the like, I just got paid, fuck you, I'll show you I'm worth it year? Like if Ayuk just gets a fat extension, do you actually think that will motivate him even more to have a good year?
It depends how crazy they are. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown, after watching receiver, I think he's,
right?
Yeah, he was like, oh, every game I'm trying to have 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I'm like, he's going to go to 3 now. JJ Watt did that. When he got paid, he showed up to the facility at 3 a.m. to work out. And he learned, just like, oh, my fob doesn't have 24-hour access. And he sat there for 2 hours
I feel like
someone showed up.
You actually might want to prove that you're worth the money.
Yeah.
I think maybe like the later
people
you drafted,
that level always have to have something that they're trying to
the
chip
MJ
on the shoulder for something.
Yeah, like the MJ when he made up that story about, was it John Lucas? He's like, I literally made up a story that he like talked shit to me.
He's like, what did I
my
do?
favorite MJ story,
you.
Dude, my favorite MJ story ever is when the waiter in Utah was like, hey, Mr. Jordan, such a huge fan. You're the greatest player of all time. It's an honor to meet you. And he was like, I was like, fuck that guy.
That's what every time I walk into the studio to record with you guys, I just like imagine DK just like told me I suck at podcasting. Fuck you, I'll show you.
Anyway, so just to recoup all this, Tua is whatever. We don't know. I'm out on the Bengals. I think CD could have a record-setting year. Like, I think CD and Dak, like, they're both trying to inflate numbers for contract years. So if CD actually does show up, that's good. And if they don't get deals, that's better. And then I think I like Ayuk for a contract year, but he's also going like as a top 20 player. I don't like Ayuk as a second rounder. But I do think he can. Yeah.
Because they still have Debo, they still have Kittle, they still have CMC, and they're still really run balanced offense. So it's like, where's the production going to come from? I think he's the type of guy where it's going to be pretty volatile week in and week out. I think he's one of the best receivers in the NFL, but from a fantasy point of view, it's risky.
All right. Couple injuries. Oh my God. Yeah. Russell Wilson, the ties that bind you two. Russell Wilson, Steelers quarterback. If you're tuning in now in July. Yeah. Russell Wilson signed for the Steelers for $1 million because those practical guarantees weren't so practical because the Broncos cut him and still owe him $40 million in their books. So he's getting paid. It's a whole thing. So he's $1 million to Steelers. Russell Wilson has a calf injury, missed 4 practices in a row at this point. This is Monday. Actually, might be 5 by now. And
he's supposed to be back on Tuesday.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, Russell Wilson missed, I believe, 0 practices in Seattle.
It was
for 10.
I think
10
eventually
years?
he did miss some practices, but it was a solid stretch there where he literally didn't miss a practice for like first 6 or 7 years.
He had that mallet finger thing or whatever, and like it took 10 years for him to miss practice.
He had I want to say he had like a knee injury too that kind of kept him out later. But he's accumulated a few injuries later in his career. But early on, he was an Iron Man.
How many sleds were they having Russell Wilson push in Seattle?
Okay. So
we're kind of built different out there in Pittsburgh,
dude. Okay. So
it's like you show up to work, you want to prove yourself. It's like, dude, chill.
Yeah.
So
relax.
So Russell Wilson, I couldn't believe this when I read this. So this is ESPN. Shout out Brooke Pryor, Steelers reporter, ESPN. Russell Wilson said because it's how did he hurt his calf, and he's out because Achilles injury, right? Like there's a real risk of like that would mess up his whole career. Russ had Achilles injury. Russ said we were doing a sled push thing and just tweaked it a little bit. It was the 4th, 5th time we did the sled push, and I felt a little something. Why is Russell Wilson pushing a blocking sled?
Maybe they're doing tush push.
You know what's funny?
Mate, you think? No, dude.
I don't know. The Steelers also have a new strength and conditioning coach this year. They had the same guy for like 20 years.
New sheriff in town. You just hurt our quarterback.
Arthur Smith is the offensive coordinator. Arthur Smith. I could be wrong. Like if people correct, email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com if I'm wrong. I'm sure I'll hear about it. But if Arthur Smith is having Russell Wilson do blocking sleds just because he wants the team to be like manly, and then he got hurt doing a blocking sled.
Counter. Do you think this is also the type of thing that Russ would like volunteer to do?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like he's trying to like set a statement. He's like new guy, veteran, want to show like, all right.
Leaders eat last.
Yeah. 100%. Leaders eat last.
I can see him doing that.
I can see Russ being like, I'll get in there with my boys.
What would just immediate?
Just pulls his cap. That actually looks so much worse. He's like, I can hang with the young
Talk
bucks.
About your all-time
you know what that reminds me? I was at a wedding this weekend, and a friend of ours from college was telling me about she was plucking her boyfriend's eyebrows, and she was like, plucked one, and he's like, ugh, and she's like, she's such a baby, get over it. And I'm like, imagine all the offensive linemen watching him pull his calf on like the 3rd blocking sled, and they're like, we have to like block the Ravens.
It's not going great. Also, by the way, Justin Fields, turn in some heads. You're not in? You're not getting excited about that?
Yeah, sure. I've read that it's been a little up and down with him. But he's such a freak. I mean, like watching Russ, like, limp around the field, and then Justin Fields comes in like running like 4.34s.
This real talk. What do you think deep down about how this is going to go for the Steelers with the Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Arthur Smith triumvirate?
I think it's going to go well.
You couldn't say that without just a shit-eating grin.
I actually do. I honestly think like the last 3 years in Pittsburgh have like underratedly been so disastrous and so terrible with Matt Canada. And
it's been a mess.
I mean, even the last few years at Ben, remember the year before Ben's last year when he was out there, like Duck Hodges, like it's been such a mess.
You can't, it's like incredibly, incredibly difficult to complete a pass.
Like, I don't know if the bar has been lowered so much that I'm like, oh, Russ and Justin Fields, like we'll figure that out.
You know what? You just nailed it. The Steelers' offense for 2 years has reminded me of high school football. In the like when they complete a pass, like 2 passes in a row, you're like, oh, nice,
100%.
Wow.
It's like so hard to complete a pass. It's funny. I think I always say this. Football is such a, magical sport because some teams it's like so easy. You're just launching it downfield.
Like
it's
the Niners
amazing.
can do anything.
It's the most fun to watch. It's beautiful. And then some teams, it's like pulling teeth to complete a pass. You cannot do it. Like there were times with Kenny Pickett, I'm like, he can't complete a pass. Like he literally can't do it. He just hand off.
Yeah. So I like weirdly feel confident.
You mean Kenny Pickett, who Tommy DeVito had more 300-yard games in like December than Kenny Pickett did in his career?
Do you remember
Kenny Pickett facts? I forgot about those.
Do you remember God, those sucked. Do you remember 1 year ago, like almost to this day, when Kenny Pickett was just like going nuts in the preseason? Yes. And like there was like a week on
all in.
Oh my God, week on ESPN, like NFL Live. Everyone was like, we've seen it. Kenny, we knew he had it.
Thing.
We did our preseason bets episode the Wednesday before week 1, and you said your lock of this century was Kenny Pickett over yards.
That's like 17 and a half touchdowns, 1 touchdown a fucking game.
It's insulting.
And all of you were like, yeah, that's pretty insulting.
So maybe it's a good thing.
What did you throw, 11?
I don't remember it, but yes, it wasn't bad.
That sounds high. Actually, 11 sounds right. But yeah, maybe it's good that Justin Fields doesn't have high.
He completed 6 touchdown passes. Wait, am I looking at this right?
Is it bad that I'm still
Mahomes did that in a half once.
Is it bad that I'm still like, there's something there with Pickett?
Yes.
Yeah, that's bad. That's called toxic. It's a toxic relationship.
Am I looking at this right? 6 touchdown passes in 12 games.
Look, he's banged up. There's a couple fourth quarters where Kenny Pickett has shown something special.
This is one of those things where, when you're looking at a statistical, like a spreadsheet, and you're like, what do I have sorted wrong? Or what am I, what?
I filtered this. How did I filter this wrong?
I think this is filtered normally.
Wait, is this just like away games? Like what is?
Craig, back me up on this.
You must be looking at the wrong
6 touchdowns, 4 picks in 12 games.
Should that be a segment from now on? Like, did we filter this wrong?
Is this filtered right?
That does appear to be correct.
That can't be right. You didn't even get close to 17. What happened?
Right. Others.
He can't complete a pass.
Matt Canada. Okay. Okay. One other thing that I just didn't want. This isn't. I just wanted this. Craig's not over it.
He can't complete a pass. Yeah.
It's so hard.
What is that worth? Like
so
$40 million a year? No, I'm kidding.
Pop quiz. What team is Kenny Pickett on?
Eagles.
I had the realization halfway through the offseason. I was like, wait, where did he go? I have no idea.
They got the Giants' best player, Saquon Barkley, and the Steelers.
You know what's a really good one?
Yeah.
What team is Desmond Ridder on?
Good. Well, I know.
I know too, but it's hard. Do you know?
No.
He's on the Cardinals.
They traded him for Rondale Moore straight up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. What a
They
weird
traded
trade.
their starting quarterback for a 5'8" receiver.
There's so many players in
and
the league.
honestly, the Falcons won that trade.
Oh, easily.
Yeah. Dude, if your quarterback just leads he has the most goal line turnovers since like Deshaun Kaiser and the winless Browns. Like at some point,
Ridder is to me the perfect example of a player who once he's out of the spotlight ceases to exist in my mind.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
I'm
just
just permanence.
Like, yeah, I'm putting it out of my mind now. I don't think about it.
Out of sight, out of mind.
You're like, oh, he still exists.
I knew he was on a team.
Like Kyle Allen, remember him? He's on Steelers.
Oh my God, yeah.
The Steelers. Okay.
We've been wondering who's like the backup quarterback now. Like I feel like it was like
the prototype backup.
Is it Josh Johnson? I guess has the belt. I feel like it has to be Josh Johnson.
You're saying the most journeyman
Taylor. It was Ryan Fitzpatrick. It was like there's always a Ryan Fitzpatrick team. Like, oh, he's the backup.
It's
but if
Taylor
he has
Heineke, maybe.
Heineke, well, I don't
Even
know.
though I guess he's third now.
Because Minshew
might be the backup.
But he's like
Minshew.
starter-ish.
Frangie, Drew Lock. Drew Lock could be there.
But he never was really the starter.
Yeah, but
I mean, he's been
I feel like
a
it's Josh
starter.
Johnson.
But Fitzpatrick was a guy who ebbed and flowed between starter and non-starter. Oh, Jameis.
Oh,
Flacco?
Yeah.
I can't believe he's alive.
Flacco had too much of a
He's
career
still
as
in
a
the
starter.
league.
Like Flacco won a fucking Super Bowl.
What does it say about the Browns that Joe Flacco took him to the playoffs and they're like, you were too good. We have to get rid of you.
I know.
We can't have you and
Bizarre.
Deshaun Watson in the same season. Like everyone will want Flacco back. That's bad.
I think it's Jameis.
Craig, do you know what team Carson Wentz is on?
He's on the Rams.
Nope.
Wait. Chiefs.
Yeah.
Dude, Carson Wentz wins the Super Bowl. Dude, Carson Wentz winning a Super Bowl.
Will Wentz complete a pass to Kadarius Toney this year?
Oh,
that's my
dude,
goal.
By the way, Tony, getting some hype in camp.
Wait, do you think
Andy Reid was like, he can't catch the ball, so he's a running back now.
We just need to get the ball in his hands as easily as possible.
He kind of can't run routes, so we just have to give him the ball in the backfield.
I want to go back to 2019.
He's the Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Go that way.
I kind of get that.
I want to go back to 2019 and be like, hey, guys, few years, you're gonna have Carson Wentz throwing to Kadarius Toney in an Andy Reid offense.
Oh God,
Just
yes.
like
In 2018, if you told a Chiefs fan you can have this rookie Patrick Mahomes or Carson Wentz, every single one of them would have chosen Carson Wentz.
Oh. Who do you think was ultimately right about Tony, Craig and I, or Heifetz?
I think it's a resounding us. Jury's still out. Kind of waiting to see
with the
mode.
starters.
We're in a contract year with the Tony take. We'll see. We'll see if we're going to get an extension.
Yeah.
running with the startars, picking up the balls.
We're doing a soft hold.
We're picking up the 5th year on the Tony take. We're picking up the 5th year.
5th year option. All right.
That's actually pretty funny. Picking up the 5th year option on a take.
We're still in, but not quite.
Yeah, we picked up.
We're
the
not
option.
quite ready for an extension.
Yeah, we'll franchise tag him maybe.
It's a good value still to us.
I will franchise tag that take.
How am I doing on Josh Jacobs then? Maybe I should let that one go.
Yeah.
I kind of like Josh Jacobs this year, by the way.
Well.
He's doing a lot of media.
Is he?
He's like doing a lot of pods, Josh Jacobs.
See, that's kind of Nick.
I know. I kind of hate when players do pods.
Like Stroud's good.
like play football.
Craig
Leave the media to the people who are not athletic.
They also
get
hate
off our
when you do
corner,
pods.
right?
Oh my God.
All right. Well, speaking of pods, the Tim Kawakami podcast, which is Tim Kawakami covered the 49ers for like
I love that guy.
my entire life.
That guy's hilarious on Twitter.
He does not give an F.
That guy quote retweets anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
he goes hard in the paint.
He'll attack anyone.
He's throwing elbows.
Yes, he is.
He's Heifetz playing basketball.
That guy uses Twitter more like in such a bizarre way.
I respect it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like he puts heads on spikes. It's just every
he like
time.
treats his main account like a burner.
Right.
Anyway.
He suffers no one.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan was on the show. Kyle Shanahan, coach of the 49ers. And they were talking about Bill Belichick. And they were like, and Kyle Shanahan said that he offered Belichick a job. And Kyle Shanahan said, I was like, would you be interested? And Belichick was very nice and appreciative, but he politely turned me down. And then ESPN had a longer excerpt. And Shanahan said, I'm sure Belichick's going to be back in the league next year and I could be going against him. He could be in the NFC West. It would have sucked if he came here and then he was going against us. So that's the stuff you have to be careful about. But he's the best, and I just like talking to him. And they also basically said you could have any job you want, defensive coordinator.
He's like head coach?
Honestly, I wonder what Kyle Shanahan would do.
He's like, I'll make up a new role for myself.
Yeah.
I'm back
I'll be
in.
the football president.
Yeah.
I think this confirms what everyone says that Kyle Shanahan knows ball.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because he's like, like everyone's like, you know what? I don't know about this guy. And Kyle Shannon's like, that guy won 8 Super Bowls. Yeah, he's pretty. Maybe you want to play work for us?
I was thinking of you when I read that. I'm like, how did no one hire him?
Dude, I think like we might have to pitch Bill on like a 60 for 60 one day on like how nobody hired Bill Belichick to be the head coach of their football team.
He's literally not coaching in football.
His boat is called 8 Rings.
It's incredible.
Anyway, shout out Kyle Shanahan for being like smart.
It's just rational.
All right. Actually, wait, while the Niners, Brock Purdy bulking up. That was just the last training camp news want to hit.
Whoa.
Brock Purdy.
Bulk
season.
Why does everybody feel like they need to change so much every off season?
Yeah,
he was pretty good. He was pretty good last year. Wouldn't you come in being like, I should try and do what I did last year?
Dude, he's thin. I think he just needs to be like sturdier.
Maybe they're worried about the offensive line. He's like, I got to put on a little weight.
Yeah, but couldn't that potentially mess up your throwing motion and all that? You get too muscle bound.
I think he thought of that.
Start to be like Levis, just all veiny.
Yeah, just like tight. I think that's like, of all the dumb stuff we've talked about, the truest thing we've ever talked about is hot quarterbacks are bad.
If Purdy was ripped, though, I think I might think he's better.
Who's the best ripped quarterback of all time?
There literally are none. No quarterbacks have been ripped. Like Mahomes, but the pliability to lose dad bod without like the
Was
muscles.
Elway ripped?
Early in his career.
Not now.
Well, okay.
He's like 60.
What is that? What's the point of saying that?
I don't know. I don't think any of them like look ripped.
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, the famous Tom Brady thing, obviously, with
the combine.
Yeah, and
it's
then
peak
Patrick Mahomes
performance.
Patrick Mahomes is.
Mahomes
Roethlisberger was a big.
Mahomes is an inspiration.
Mahomes is like very like not sneaky, not ripped.
Mahomes and Scotty Scheffler are genuinely inspiring for average men.
Yeah,
it's funny that Mahomes is so good because
I love it.
Like the body, obviously, he's a little thick or whatever, and then the way he wears his helmet it's so dorky looking. His helmet
Big
is
ass
like
helmet.
way on the top of his
He's also
skull.
his head's always leaning to the side.
Dude, I love how he walks like Pablo Escobar in Narcos.
Yeah.
Like he has
Yeah,
this
yeah.
bow-legged knees. Like
He's
he's
like
always
the
pulling his
He
goofiest
can
pants up.
get away with
quarterback.
it because he's the best quarterback of our generation.
Probably ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you be careful to say
Well,
that.
no,
but
it's really this is so simple. I think it doesn't have to make this complicated. Tom Brady is the GOAT. Like everyone agrees, Tom Brady's the greatest of all time, and Patrick Mahomes is like also better. And like that's not even controversial.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
both those things are true.
Yeah.
And I can't explain it, but it's true. All right, you guys want to do some emails?
Yeah. Josh Allen's pretty ripped.
Is he? I feel like
Maybe
Josh
not.
Allen's a little
Maybe not.
kind of like normally built.
I don't know.
I'm
Kinda-
googling Josh
built
Allen
like
shirtless.
Elon Musk, just like all torso.
Elon Musk has the Ron DeSantis. Like he's just like the
Elon
side
Musk-
profile is different.
Elon Musk is all top.
Dude, he's not ripped. Look at Josh Allen. He's not ripped. Look at this guy.
Okay, I take it back. Yeah,
That's dad bod.
that's kind of.
Is he still dating Haley Steinfeld?
Yeah.
Steinfeld?
Steinfeld, yeah. Have you heard that thing about like the difference in weight distribution between men and women, where if you get on your hands and knees,
Be careful, Craig.
Yeah.
hold on now, I'm gonna land this.
Okay.
If you get on your hands and knees, like you're gonna like, you know how like the beginning of a wrestling match, a guy's on his hands and knees.
Mhm.
If you get like that, and then you remove both of your hands and put them behind your back,
Men can't do it.
cannot
right.
do that. Their head will fall into the ground. Women can. They can stay up. I literally practiced this last weekend. I was at the beach with a bunch of friends. And every guy,
couldn't
Leave
do
your
it?
private life private.
every guy tried to do it, and we all failed, and every girl could do it. It's unbelievable.
Are there like center of gravity
Yes.
is
Lower.
different?
Yeah, the weight distribution is just like
interesting.
men are more top heavy.
We're just Johnny Bravos at it.
Which is ironic because you wouldn't think so.
Anyway. All right. You guys want an email on fighting animals?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's from Joe.
Joey.
All right. So we've been talking about what animals we could fight and who would win anyway. You know, what animal could you KO?
We've been deluding ourselves about what animals we can fight.
I think we've been pretty realistic. I said a capybara. I thought that was like the biggest
You
animal I
said
could
you
knock
said
out.
you knock one out.
I think it's the biggest animal I could knock
But
out. It's capybara.
didn't we begin by you saying you think you could take a gorilla or something?
No, it was how many.
He said ape.
That's different.
Oh, ape, which is still insane.
Oh, I thought I could take an ape. They're like 100 pounds. I thought I could beat an ape in a fight. I'm a human.
They're like,
I thought I could beat an ape in a fight.
apart.
No,
Yeah.
they would kill me. I've learned. I don't know, man. They're like 2 feet tall.
they're like apes are like 100 pounds.
Yeah, that's my point. There's weight classes in fighting for a reason. In UFC, you can't even fight someone who's 10 pounds heavier than you. Like, I thought that mattered.
No.
Anyway, so what was the email?
Oh, yeah, right. What was I talking about?
Yeah.
Joe says, I've been in a fight with a goose, and I cannot.
I've been in a fight with a
I cannot
goose.
win a fight with a goose. Joe said his
They're
name.
mean.
I could take a goose.
That's what I said. We were talking about this. He says his parents' neighborhood has a pond.
How
He wa-
slippery is it?
What?
How big is the arena
I
that
feel
we're
like
in?
if you fall, you're down. Like you're screwed.
What is it going to do to you? Beak you?
Jab your eyes out.
Oh, they do.
Yeah. Beak you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
oh, you're saying yes, beak you.
I think
Yes.
they will.
Beak you.
They'll bite you with their beaks.
so
You mean stab?
Well,
I'm not worried about the
chomp on you.
biting.
Poke?
Chomp on you.
I feel like I'm more worried about the poke than the bite.
even a chicken, I kind of wonder if they could poke.
Do
their
they
eyes
like
out.
whip their heads around? I think
That's
they,
what giraffes do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, giraffes are like functionally mute. They don't make sounds.
Yeah. You know their bones are solid.
Aren't all bones
Fused
solid?
together? You mean? Like what do you mean?
What do you mean? Aren't bones solid?
No.
What?
I think you need to rephrase.
Like
Like-
like there's like no, there's like marrow in a
Right.
like
like
giraffe bones are like just like solid.
Oh, I thought you were
rock.
saying
like
like we have cartilage bones or something.
No.
oh, you mean like, you just snap it over, just all bone?
It's just all bone. It's so they can protect themselves and kick
Oh Jesus.
predators. Like a
Damn.
giraffe kick can like kill a lion.
Anyway, what were
Yeah,
we
well,
talking
I
about?
don't
The
know. Oh,
goose. Goose.
Joe
email.
ran around the pond in his parents' neighborhood, and he didn't realize there was a mama goose around all his goose things. And he says the goose attacked me, and he got rocked. Joe got fucking rocked, and he said,
Did he
"Left of-
describe how the attack happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Flight is a massive advantage."
That's
what he said.
That makes
He said
sense.
gookies can fly.
That makes
It
sense.
was like the goose flew. It's very fast when it flies.
Wow,
So
I
it was
guess I
hard
didn't
to be-
factor in that it could like fly
It's like
above you
dive
and then
bombing.
swoop
Yeah,
down
it's like
on you.
the
Yeah.
anger of a goose coming at you on the ground, but like from the sky.
It's
and
getting
you're like,
attacked
"Damn,
by a drone. That's like real. Yeah.
That's. Yeah. Maybe we can't beat that many animals.
Dude, I'm telling you. They have so many advantages physically. Animals do.
I mean, yeah.
Animals just have like a different kind of strength. Like, they're just like built for combat more than we are.
Built for combat. Yeah.
I want to ask you guys, because we were talking about how the Olympic villages, like they're just having sex and they had like 100,000 condoms or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I saw that they have
just an
anti-sex
orgy.
beds at the Olympics.
What?
They're made
Anti-sex-
out of cardboard.
Yeah, so they made out of cardboard.
Just like really uncomfortable to have sex on?
So they're claiming, people are
Yes.
claiming.
They'll figure it out.
It's
You could stand up.
Yeah. These people are the most athletic people in the world.
They're not having
These are
regular
the
sex.
most flexible people on earth. They will figure it out.
Yeah.
They'll get more creative.
Life finds a way.
It actually might be more fun for them now because it's like a little bit of a challenge. It's become a sport.
That's an
that's a real
unofficial Olympic sport. Yeah.
all right. Any other Olympic stuff?
There's just so many sports in the Olympics that you never realize.
Yeah.
Like, breakdancing is a sport this year in the Olympics?
Are you serious?
Yes. And I was thinking, what sport, if you had 4 years to train for the 2028 LA Olympics, you can quit your job.
It's all you do.
Somebody will pay you $500,000 a year exclusively to train for the Olympics to qualify in any event you can.
$500,000 a
What
year.
event do you think you are most likely to qualify for?
Oh my God. First of all, this is highly insulting to the people that are in the Olympics.
Oh,
doing
whatever.
it.
No, it's not.
fine.
Who cares?
But
They're not listening.
Badminton?
Dude, that stuff looked hard, dude.
I
Those
mean,
guys are good.
Yeah, all of these sports,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's the
You know,
Olympics.
you know badminton goes 200 miles an hour? Snoop Dogg said that yesterday.
Maybe I can't
Really?
do that. I don't
200
know.
miles
What
an
about
hour.
squash?
That's a good
I'm
one.
gonna be honest,
Dude,
I don't really
squash
know.
is good.
It's basically
what
racquetball.
squash
Because I
is.
feel like the Winter Olympics is easy because it's curling.
It's
I could be a
curling.
curler. I don't care what anyone says.
It's 100% curling.
Like I can do that job.
Yes.
I don't
I
want to.
think if you had 4 years, you could learn equestrian jumping.
I'm afraid of horses.
Wait,
They can
is
smell it?
is dressage in the Olympics or no?
Yes.
That one, the horse is just kind of dancing.
I know.
Yeah,
Actually,
he's got
I was
there.
thinking about this last night. I was watching the Olympics on the way down here, and I was like, do they give the medal to the horse too? Because he's doing a lot of the work.
Yeah, that's
Especially with dressage. I mean, the jockeys are like 60 years old. Like, come on.
yeah. We could do.
Let's just do this by age.
Yeah.
If you're
Did you see there's a
really old in the Olympics,
There's like
you
a
could probably do it.
58-year-old ping pong player from Chile, a woman.
Oh, ping pong.
Ping pong looks hard.
Dude.
No shot ping pong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, those guys are so good.
Yeah.
Like,
I think.
I think I have a shot. What about sailing?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
4 years of all I do is sail every day.
And you know what else I was thinking about? Rowing. You just do exactly what the person in front of you does.
You
you really
cannot-
have, you have someone exactly
no.
in
You
front
have
of
to
you.
have
No,
like
no,
incredible
no,
like
no.
lats.
You just do exactly. Well, that's what the 4 years are for.
No, rowing, you there is a base level like physical build that you need to have.
That's what the 4 years are for.
But you can't be 6'4" in 4 years.
Not with that
Those
attitude.
dudes are like long, lean, and ripped.
It's like
Those guys are athletic.
Michael Phelps. How he's like perfectly like
he's
built
like
in
built
a
like a
lab to
T.
be a swimmer.
Yeah. The rowers are all like long. It's like the Winklevoss twins were rowers.
You got to be huge.
You gotta be big.
There's 4 of me. Yeah.
Shooting?
Oh, the skiing and shooting. Oh,
The biathlon?
Can you learn how to
yeah.
shoot in 4 years? I feel like you could.
what do you think is the hardest?
But like,
Are we talking like you could be the worst person in the Olympics?
No, like if the goal is to medal.
Oh, medaling? Oh my god.
Like I just want to qualify.
Well, that's what the Winter Olympics are for. Like, there's like really rich people who just like enter like really obscure sports, and
What about canoeing?
isn't that just like
Is
the other
that
one, but
different than
harder?
rowing?
Canoeing's like the mountain biking of water. Canoeing's like they're going through
There's
like
canoe.
a stream.
It's canoe slalom, right?
Yeah,
Right.
it's hard, dude.
Honestly,
You're
like,
like
there's
weaving through stuff.
There were
No way.
trees in the middle of that stuff. It looks hard.
I think sailing is it.
What is the sailing competition? Like what?
Sailing's the most likely for you to die in training.
Sailing seems
Like,
really dangerous.
Sailing seems
actually.
hard.
What is the actual competition with sailing at the Olympics? Is it like what is the goal? How do you compete?
Dude, I don't even get how you sail against the wind, man. I don't know. I don't know how sailing works.
I don't think you do. Right? You go with the wind.
No, that's they Spanish figured this out
You
like
like
400
tack.
years ago. You think they just got to like across the ocean by just being like, yeah, we hope the wind's like that the whole time.
I guess that's fair.
It's-
Surfing is a little bit like that too, though, because you have to find like a good wave.
dude, did you see the place they're surfing on? It's called the Wall of Skulls.
In Fiji?
Yeah,
that's not
or not
scary.
Fiji. It's maybe it is. I don't know.
I think it's in Fiji.
Tahiti.
Oh, they're in Tahiti?
What do you think is the hardest sport? Which sport could you? There's like no shot. Obviously, like
The men's
weightlifting,
gymnastics.
weightlifting, gymnastics.
The NBA.
Well, yeah.
Dude, please, dude. South Sudan almost beat America.
You think I could just be the fifth on the U.S. team?
Honestly, yeah.
Sit in the corner?
Just
If
a
you're pract-
swing guard. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Like just like the 100 in track.
Oh, wait, we got this. We got this. Hello.
I think that
Dude.
might be it.
Like, I just
Artistic swimming.
Oh, what's the
artistic swimming?
What's the gymnastics one where you just kind of dance?
Rhythmic
Gymnastics.
Dude, artistic
Do I have
swimming,
a shot at that?
Can I ask you a real?
There's artistic, rhythmic, and trampoline.
No shot. I could do trampoline.
Dude, wait, we got this. If you actually mean this, like if you had to pick one, your life is at stake, and you're like, you really have to medal. The answer is handball. You could be the worst handball player on the best handball team in the world.
You think I could?
I think you could make the American handball team.
Yeah.
if you were going to pick something, I feel like that has to be the one you
just
pick.
stand in front of Craig.
Because you already know to throw.
I mean, all those guys are probably dudes who like couldn't play all the other sports.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe they grew up in a place where handball was popular, Craig.
No.
And no other sports were?
Question for you. And I'm being actually serious.
Okay.
Do you think it would be harder for you to train and go into the 100-meter race or...
Talking about track?
Yeah.
And be good? Or
no, like to medal.
In the
100 meters
okay.
or in skateboarding.
Whoa. I mean, the 100 meters is physically impossible. I have no shot.
Do I have 4 years to train?
Yeah.
Like, I honestly think it's track.
Get out of here.
Dude, me against Nyjah Houston, it would never work. I would never get there.
But like skateboarding...
There's like a level of coordination that I will just never have skateboarding. You could at least argue that I could just steroid myself for 4 years and work with the best trainers in the world, and maybe I could run 100 meters really fast.
I think the problem is that in theory, it sounds insane to be like, oh, I could medal in the world's... Like, we have literally zero shot of medaling and running. But the problem is that Craig and I are both like afraid to die, and there's just a vibe skateboarders have that they're just like, yeah, whatever, man.
We're just afraid I was watching the skateboarding last night. It is insane, the stuff they do.
Dude, can I tell you what made me feel really old? Watching the gymnastics, and they had all the people in the crowd. Shaun White has this really like mature looking haircut.
Shaun White does.
And I was like, you know what?
Yeah, he's
when
really
Shaun
grown
White
up.
cut his hair, I was like, I'm old now. It's like Shaun White should not look like he's like a...
How does
like a businessman?
Is sailing like you need to like get to a point in the water and turn around and is it like a speed thing? Like how does it work?
I think that's the general gist of it. Yeah,
it's just like go there and back the fastest.
Dude, that's so hard.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I think so.
It's just like you go a mile that way.
Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com if you know about sailing. I think the answer is handball. I'm picking that, and I think it's the right choice.
You don't think it's sailing?
I'm picking shooting.
No, because
sailing requires no athleticism.
You spent 3 months learning the words of what a boat
no,
are. Like,
yes, it does. You have to like do all the roping and the rigging and everything. You have to move around.
You think you have to be like an athlete to do that?
I'm Googling how to sail.
I mean, you
Olympics.
can get strong. You don't have to be athletic.
Do you know what's funny?
Every sailor ever is super athletic?
It would take Craig like a year to bring a boat into harbor.
Let's see. Who else can we insult now? What do you think?
Look, the goal is to medal. That's why we're here right now.
Canoeing.
Dude, watch the canoeing. DK.
I haven't actually watched it.
Watch the canoeing.
Really scary.
Yeah, no shot with canoeing.
I'm looking at the list of Olympic sports.
It's apparently a 17-foot catamaran.
Athletics is a
17-foot catamaran
with hydrofoil dagger boards and winglets.
Don't know what that means.
Yeah, me neither. We have to learn. All right, should we? Let's get out of here.
Let us know.
Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, everyone behind the scenes. Thank you, Kai. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jack Wilson.
Oh wow, this sailing thing looks way harder when you look at the photos.
Yeah, that looks difficult. We'll throw those up on Spotify. Yeah,
this is like borderline windsurfing.
What'd you think it was like?
Well, it's called sailing. Windsurfing is a different sport.
What is a sail if not a surfing on the wind?
Sailing and windsurfing are different things.
How different though? The concept seems
I'm
super
just saying,
similar.
If it was windsurfing,
generally
they would call
speaking,
it that.
they use the same.
They use wind to move in the water.
Yeah.
Those are completely different. They seem like similar. They seem the same family.
I guess email us if you think windsurfing and sailing are the same thing.
So just a weird hill to die on. Windsurfing, nothing like sailing.
Well, I'm just saying, in my head, sailing is like a broader term to me. Like when I think of sailing, it can kind of mean many things. Windsurfing, I think of one specific thing.
Right.
Yeah, a very small boat for one person.
It's not a boat.
It's not.
No,
but
you're
it's like a flat floating thing.
Oh.
Functionally, this is windsurfing. This is like small sailing. Sailing for people who don't have a boat.
Yeah, but when I also think of sailing, I think of like a long wooden ship with a giant wheel that you.
Yeah, that's not the Olympics.
Old wooden ship.
My point is that surfing is a broader. There's a wider net of like what surfing could mean.
You took a
compared to
surfing
windsurfing.
class in college, didn't you?
No.
Oh, they just offered it.
We're also talking about sailing. But there is.
What are we talking about?
They did offer sailing at SDSU, and my roommate did take it. I would have, but it was like 7 a.m. on Saturdays. And I was like, what?
F that.
Dude, we'll be bad.
I'm not fucking doing that.
Thank you, Lord.
Lord.
Thank you, House of Pain.
Nice jump
which
around.
is what we would all be in if we tried to do Olympic sports.
I got up. I used to know all those lyrics.
Dude,
I came to win. I don't mean that's a sin.
They used to play that when the Pittsburgh Penguins scored a goal.
Put your hands up. Sorry, go ahead.
No, they played that when the Penguins scored a goal, and it's like a huge Pittsburgh thing, and they changed it to "Party Hard" by Andrew WK.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah, great song.
Controversial though.
We could take windsurfing lessons in LA.
Oh my God, should we do this tomorrow?
No. We're gonna take handball lessons instead.
Yeah, let's concentrate on something realistic here.
Goodbye, everyone.